What's up, guys, and welcome to another Hungover podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Julien.
Gracia!
Hey! You guys did it! You finally don't
one,
have to worry about being in the World Cup anymore. We're going to be talking about...
I know. So we're going to be talking about the World Cup, and when we were watching it, I stress watch all Russian soccer games. It's the worst thing in the world. I prefer to be alone for them, just because, unless it's with like family, then that's okay. But I was there with Laura. Laura came out during halftime-ish, and she was sitting there, and she's like, God, please let Russia win, because my boyfriend's about to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And I said, you want them to win so that we can do this again for another game?
Insane in the membrane. You know what I mean? Look, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be giving you guys a little bit of a preview of the semifinals coming up this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, and of course the final match. We'll give you our predictions for that, and of course we'll discuss everything that's been going on since the knockout bracket has started. But that being said, you can definitely, this is the first time you've ever tuned into this podcast, or even if you only find it in one place, you can be sure to find this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on Google Play in audio form. But you can also find it in video form on YouTube the day on Mondays at 9 a.m. Over at the Hungover Gaming YouTube channel, where you can go check out all our other cool videos that we do. And you can also tune in live and be part of the show yourself if you tune in on twitch.tv/JujuBsGood, where we live stream this podcast. It's also auto-hosted by Comrade Boyar Ivan, so you can give us a follow there if you want to keep up with our lives. Ivan,
Yo.
We start our podcast out every single week in a segment. I'm kidding. But we start our podcast out every single week in a segment called, what do we have a name for it? What media have you been consuming this week? And
we've been doing this podcast for like coming on a year and a half to 2 years.
I know. And
we still don't have a name for this first segment.
I'm not saying things.
I don't like that, but
Anyways, we start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what media have you been consuming, and what did you drink last night?
So, gin and tonic.
Nice.
Gin and tonic. And right now I'm currently consuming a grapefruit shandy, which is Coors Light combined with another Coors Light combined with
an entire grapefruit.
Yeah, there's a lot of grapefruit in there. It's like
got to do something to mess that
2 cans of Coors Light to about this much, so like 2 to 3 ounces of grapefruit. It's not it's like a very Leinenkugel taste, and I have to say I'm pretty proud of it. Now, earlier
impressed.
this week, I did some things because I've been trying to explore different options to, spice up my life in terms of my drinking habits. So I've been doing snake bites every once in a while. I will go to the gas station, buy a tall boy of a lager, for instance, Heine.
Good old Heine.
And then buy
the weed of beers.
Cider, and then dump those bad boys in together. Creates a delicious beverage that is neither too armpit smelly like Heineken, nor too sweet like a cider usually is.
And what's the one where you mix that with Guinness?
Black and tan.
Black and tan, that's what it's called. Cool. That sounds delicious and very refreshing for the summer.
Yes.
Good.
Summer, I've been grilling a lot more. I've grilled at least 2 times since we last chatted.
That was last week. That is impressive. 2 times in 1 week. You must smell like smoke.
Yeah, my bedroom did for a little bit. In terms of movies, have I seen anything recently? Let's see, did we talk, had I seen Day of the Soldado, Sicario?
No, you said you were going to.
I saw Day of the Soldado, Sicario, Day of the Soldado.
What a name.
It is the sequel to Sicario, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. That one is directed by Denis Villeneuve and stars Emily Blunt,
Cool.
Josh Brolin, Benicio del Toro. Has a great cast, a phenomenal cinematographer in Roger Deakins. He's also the same guy who did Blade Runner 2049. They worked together multiple times now because Denis Villeneuve did that movie too. It's an incredible. The original one is an incredible movie that has a lot of depth and things. This movie, not so much, but you get dropped into very much the same atmosphere, which is it. I like the first one a lot, so it's kind of pleasant to be in that same atmosphere, and they delve deeper into Benicio del Toro's character, which is pretty interesting. But in general, I think it's, a B+ movie. I thought it was for me, this movie was much better than Jurassic Park. Because I went into this movie just expecting to be entertained, and I was, for the most part.
Very good.
It's an entertaining movie that is attempting to brush past, intense social issues and is confused about how it wants to address them, because it goes pretty conservative in one direction, pretty liberal in another direction, trying to disclose it's dealing with very murky issues and very unclear motivations and decisions within that system of politics and different things. So it's a lot to handle in this one movie, which is very much structured as more like an action film. So basically, the director of this movie and the studio took a look at all of the action scenes that were so great in Sicario and was like, let's make the entire movie just those scenes.
Okay.
There isn't a lot of focus on the pauses or the morality or the different questions, so it doesn't get as complex in terms of its plot devices and different things as the original Sicario does. But if you enjoyed some of the action scenes of the first Sicario, this one doesn't reach that level, but they do try to do more of them. Okay. So there's that kind of balance. So it's quantity over quality. I much preferred the first one. I think the first one is an A+ film, one of the best films of that year. I think this one won't even be nominated for things, so...
Dang. Well, at least they got a second chance at, continuing the franchise of the movie, so that's good enough.
It's the same writer, which I found to be interesting because he did this trilogy of movies. He did Sicario, he did Hell or High Water, and then he did one more, which off the top of my head I can't remember. And now he came back to Sicario, and this one seems like a money grab.
Okay, so maybe not the best way to give that franchise its due diligence.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was going to be a franchise, but
Right, yeah, that's actually typically, if they didn't write it as a franchise or as a overarching story, then it can, more often than not, I think, fall short in the sequels, I would say. Maybe The Matrix.
I think the first movie was left open enough that there could be a sequel, but I don't think it was done... it's definitely not in the same vein of dealing with the morality issues as the first one. I think the first one is one of the best films that deals with crime and drug cartels and that kind of thing. His second movie, Hell or High Water, is one of the best movies that came out that year. That was 2016, and that had Jeff Daniels and the guy who played Angel in X-Men. What's his name?
Oh, I don't know.
Ben Foster. And it also had Chris Pine in a pretty good role.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah, and that one said a lot. And then he directed and wrote a crime thriller in 2017. And again, this is just a money grab. So I think he can do better in the future, but I also think he didn't really care. He just wanted to follow what the studio is like. We'll pay you to write this. And he goes, no, I think I told the story I wanted to tell. Wait, hold on. How much money?
That sounds one of those. About right. Well, cool.
So what about you? What have you been delving into?
Me, I have, let's see. For drinking, I had a couple of drinks more than I wanted to have this weekend. Because my friend just recently broke up with her boyfriend and needed some consoling or whatever, and so she wanted to try to be social, which she hasn't been. And so we went out to we got some BBQ, which was pretty nice in Brooklyn. It was a little, well, it was all right. This place Morgan's in Brooklyn, I believe it's on Fifth Avenue. You
didn't go to the standard Hill Country?
Oh no, we weren't in Red Hook. We were in by Atlantic Avenue, by the Barclays Center. And so this place was all right. I mean, the food was pretty good. Like the mac and cheese was pretty tasty. And my friend and I decided to get, the tasting platter of things. So you get 3 different meats. They had brisket. We asked for fatty brisket, which I personally like more, and ribs.
Who doesn't prefer fatty
No,
brisket?
I don't even know why they have the other one.
Prefer fatty brisket.
Well, exactly. I don't even know why they have the other one. But I'll tell you, this brisket was pretty bad. This brisket was like dry and overcooked and a little too salty for my palate. It might not be for everyone's palate, but so I wouldn't recommend the brisket at Morgan's. Well, I mean, maybe it was just one brisket out of 10 briskets that was too overcooked or something. But their ribs were pretty decent. Again, I think a little too salty. I would like to reduce the amount of salt on dry rubs personally. I know it's important, but I think it's more important to have other flavors. And then there was also a sausage. I like the sausage, the hot link or whatever, the smoked sausage link. I'm always a fan of those. Had the mac and cheese, tasty. We had an IPA.
Nice.
Let's see, I can't remember the name. It wasn't Flower Power, which I like that one. I like Flower Power.
Flower Power is delicious.
Yeah, it was some floral IPA. That's why I'm thinking of Flower Power. But instead of drinking this IPA, just drink what?
I literally hadn't understood that until just now.
Oh my god. You need to have another IPA. Anyways, that was Friday night.
I didn't understand the name, Julien.
I know.
I'm so stupid.
The other thing that we did on Saturday was we went out to a party. It was a nice apartment to go to. But all the people there were, some of them were our friends, and then the rest of the people that I didn't know were all lawyers, so it wasn't that fun to, be around. But it was cool to see our friends that were there. Otherwise, we got these beers from there's this craft beer place also on Atlantic Avenue. That sells, your run-of-the-mill craft beers, hipster shit. But I got this cool Japanese beer that I don't know the name of because the name was in Japanese, but it's not in hiragana, so I couldn't read it, which sucks. But it was made from sake rice and I think some malted barley. Which was delicious. It was an extra dry beer. I think only Japan makes extra dry beers now, in terms of. I think extra dry. It's actually funny that Japan does that because extra dry was started by the type of beer, quote unquote. I think it was started by Coors or Miller, and it was just a marketing campaign. It was sort of like that. Was it Grey Goose vodka? That became famous overnight because someone decided to make it famous, and then it caught on in Japan, that type of flavor, and then so now Asahi makes continues that ad campaign, which is not at all Coors or Miller, even though it kind of tastes. You can make the argument.
Don't knock a good Coors.
I'm not saying Coors is bad. It is the banquet of beers, right? Or is it the champagne? No, Miller's the High Life, which is the champagne.
Miller High Life
Coors is the banquet. But yeah, I think it started in America, extra dry, and then it went to Japan, and it still exists in Japan, but nowhere else. Nowhere else makes an extra dry beer. But They still make them. But this one was really cool. It's in a light blue can. It's really, and then it has black text on it. So I mean, that's all I can describe for it in terms of what it looks like, because I don't know the name of it. But it was really good. And outside of that, I've been playing Lumines. I picked up this game for $5 called Pocket Rumble on Switch. I think it's a fighting game, sort of in the vein. It's a 2-button fighter, so you just have A and B. It's sort of in the vein of
Dive
kick? Not of dive kick, because dive kick you can jump and you can kick. But the 2 buttons it's more like Super Smash Brothers, but if it was a 2D fighter that had health bars and meter and things. So this has meter. It looks like a this is inspired by the Game Boy fighters. So there are a bunch of video games, fighting games that came out on the Game Boy, and I believe maybe even the Game Boy Advance, that were 2-button fighters. They were typically made by SNK, so like Final Fight, I believe, is one of them. And they were all super fun. Just pick up and play. There's an arcade mode. You keep going. This game is cool because it has online rank matches. Has a really pretty decent training mode that you would expect to see in a game like Street Fighter V or Tekken. So this you can record, and you can record your opponent doing moves and then figure out how to beat that move. I think that's pretty cool. I did find that there's this one really broken character, which I guess I'll tell. I mean, there's only, I think, 9 characters in the game, maybe less. But it's a super fun fighter. I picked it up for $5. I can't really complain. Has online mode. That's all I really wanted. I might stream it on Saturday of next week, but that will have to be yet to be seen, because Octopath Traveler comes out next week, and I'm fucking hype.
There we go.
And otherwise from that, that's pretty much what I did in terms of gaming, besides us having a mixed reception on our Overwatch matches earlier today. But it was sad. I think we're still pretty much in the same spot, though. So
I have to say, I am in love with the group finding feature.
I didn't think you would be, but I'm glad you are. Even though today we got a bunch of people that may not know what they were doing so well.
Yeah, but at least the team comp is more focused and balanced, and we get, like, even if we get shat on, at least there's a better chance that we won't get shat on.
Yeah, and
if that makes
I've
sense.
noticed the games have been going on a lot longer too, for us, but that's just me. We typically go to like overtime, or the game just takes a long time to finish, which is fun. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
And even though I am a fairly good Zarya,
yeah,
I've
you're very good.
I've become a decent McCree.
I'm glad you're picking up McCree.
I have a losing record this season again.
This season, we can turn that around. All right, you're streaming after this. It doesn't have to be Overwatch.
37.5% with Zarya.
Damn.
It's really bad.
It's all right, Yvonne. We got this. But Yvonne, do you know who doesn't got this anymore? The Russian national team.
That's oh god, the way you said that really actually hurt.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Behind us in the video portion, we have the bracket for the round of 16 quarterfinals and semifinals. Yvonne, where do you want to start with this? I'm sorry Russia went out. I really was pulling. Perfect. I was really pulling for them to win. I really think that Croatia got the better of them, unfortunately. I really had high hopes for that team. I thought they could have beaten them.
I
and
don't think
England.
Croatia got the better of them. I think Croatia
only
got
in
lucky.
The penalties. Okay.
I mean, penalties are hard.
They're the worst.
Russia,
but they're exciting.
Let's do this. Let's do a fair analysis of what happened with Russia. Russia came into the World Cup. Everybody expected them, including Russians, to shit the bed.
Right,
They instead came out and won 5-0 and then 3-1 in their first 2 games. had the highest scoring team in the World Cup, didn't play almost any of their starters and lost to Uruguay. They didn't really care.
Fine with
Then
me.
they came out and played Spain to a 1-1 draw through 120 minutes, then came down to PKs and won in penalty kicks.
Right.
With the joke of a goalie for many people, Igor Akinfeev, saving 2 in one of the most spectacular kicks ever.
He had a great save with his foot. That was amazing.
Yes. And then they came out and played Croatia, a team that many after the group stage said was the most complete team of the tournament. Now, Croatia has fallen out of some people's views because they tied 1-1 to Denmark, but Denmark is a pretty good defensive team. Croatia didn't have everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And then Russia came back 1-1 through the regular time.
Yep.
They then got scored on in the early minutes of overtime, and then came back and scored in the final minutes of overtime.
That was a great goal.
Silver period. Yeah. And the guy who scored that goal has been running his goddamn ass off for the entirety of the tournament, and then had to come up and take the third penalty after one miss and missed. Now, fair enough, he was very tired. The guy who started should not have been the first PK taker.
Yeah.
That was a huge mistake. Smolov has no confidence in this tournament. Should have gone second or third, but should have still taken a PK. Now, the fact that Russia took Croatia to PKs means a lot.
Right.
It also means a lot to England, who has had the easiest fucking run of any team to make it to the goddamn semifinals. First off, let's talk about their group stage. Panama, which basically only wins because the people who come to play in Panama have to play on a high school level field that is completely destroyed at elevations that are unreal. Oh, wait, the USA played Panama and still lost out.
I'm not saying the USA should be in the World Cup, all right?
USA still sucks.
I know.
Then England also had to play against Tunisia. Okay, England versus Tunisia. Tunisia doesn't have a league. Nothing that can compare to English football.
Exactly.
So England and Belgium, right? Okay, so England has to come play Colombia. Who do they get in Colombia? It's a James Rodriguez-less Colombia, which means the best player, the player that the entire national team is based around, is out for the game.
Right.
And still, it's a 1-1 match that has to go to PKs. Then they face off against Sweden, who only got there because Germany shot the bed against Mexico, and then everybody in the group conspired to make sure that Germany didn't go through.
Right.
So then it was Sweden versus Switzerland. Sweden scores on a fluke deflection. Who knows who could have actually won that game? They were a terrible side and very bad. They couldn't play at all, and then they come up against England. So England now has to play the terrible Sweden to make it through. So now England is going to face Croatia in the semifinals. Croatia is a team which has had 2 straight games of playing 120 minutes.
Yes.
So if England beats Croatia, I will say they have had the easiest path to the finals in the modern World Cup.
I agree.
And the English team isn't good.
I haven't watched any of their games. I wasn't interested in that group. I think that they have had. I agree with you. They've had an incredibly easy path to where they are in the semifinals so far. And I think that Russia would have absolutely beaten England if Croatia didn't get in the way there. I honestly think that Russia should be in the finals right now. Or in the semifinals right now.
If Russia came up against England, we probably still couldn't win because we're going to be the team that faces England is going to be tired no matter whether they were Russia or Croatia. They play on
Saturday. Well, Russia played on Saturday, and then the game's on Wednesday, so that is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Only 3 days of rest is not enough, which is a strange. And then the finals again on the same Sunday. I feel like they should have just pushed this game. I don't know how FIFA does their scheduling, but they should have just had semifinals on like Friday of this coming week, and then have the final the next Sunday, and just so everyone's well rested and all the I mean, I guess it's ridiculous to keep the fans there for so long. Maybe I don't know how they do
Russia's
the logistics.
Been running out of beer apparently because the English fans just keep drinking.
Oh boy, good old English fans. Yeah, they're.
I'm annoyed that Russia's out. I'm proud of my boys. I am not disappointed in Russia whatsoever. I think they were the surprise of the tournament, and they went out in the same round as both Brazil and Uruguay.
I think that Russia would have beat England because England has had this easy ride so far, and they think they're just unbeatable. I think they're probably getting too cocky right now, and Croatia's just going to wreck them.
Harry Kane has the most goals in the tournament. Now let me tell you the breakdown of goddamn Harry Kane's golden boot standards. So he scored 3 against Panama, 2 against Tunisia, and 1 against Colombia, meaning that Harry Kane has 1 legitimate goal. The 2 of the 3 goals from Panama were penalty kicks, and 1 goal in the game against Panama,
right. He
wasn't looking, the ball was struck by another player, it took a deflection off of his boot and went into the net. That was how he scored his hat-trick. He is the most English top scorer ever, in that he's lucky and
Wayne
stupid
Rooney.
And annoying asshole. And I hate this English team. I hate them.
Well, then we'll be assured to have Conrad Boyer watching the Wednesday games next week.
Well, it's Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, I know.
The game that I'm actually excited for is this France-Belgium game.
That should just be the finals, honestly.
It is
at this rate
interesting as the finals, the France-Belgium game.
Yeah.
So let's get to how France got there. France qualified handily from their group, finishing number 1 in their group against who was in their group again?
France and Brazil. Not Brazil.
No. It was,
Japan, not Japan.
France, Denmark. Australia and Peru.
Oh, yeah. Peru is in there.
So France and Denmark qualified out of there. France had a pretty easy group. Not a lot of powerhouses there. Peru actually did pretty well in South America, but I think, again...
They didn't win a game.
The interesting thing about playing in South America is that you get such different elevations based on where you play. So, like, the Ecuadorian team always plays in Quito, which is, like, 10,000 feet in the air or something like that. It's, a ridiculous thing.
And then there's, like, the Honduras team stadium is, like, insane, isn't it? Or it's like a jail, basically.
So, like, the South American international play is a whole bunch of mind games and, like, legitimate physical games that they play against each other.
Right.
Which also leads to the interesting fact that no South American team made it to the semifinals.
Yeah, even Brazil knocked out. In
any case, so France comes out of their group pretty easily, number 1. Then they go and play Argentina. Pretty dominant performance by France. I know the final line is 4-3.
Yeah. But
it was 3-1 before like too much time had elapsed.
Yeah.
So France pretty handily dominated that game.
That was a very exciting game for French fans, I'd say.
Yeah. And then they came away with a 2-0 win against Uruguay. Now, to be fair, Uruguay was down Edison Cavani, who is one of their top goal scorers and one of their top aerial targets. So not a fully healthy Uruguayan squad, but still, they looked pretty good against Uruguay too. They have a pretty bland attack at points, but they're so solid. And Mbappe provides a lot of energy, and he just is able to shake up the midfield in a way that a lot of other people can't. And I'm going to say it, Olivier Giroud, an excellent striker who does a lot more than score goals. He's a guy who's an aerial target. He has hold-up play ability. He can pass and gives a lot of assists to a lot of good players. I've liked him since he played for Arsenal. And so Olivier Giroud.
And then they have
you're a beautiful man and a beautiful son.
What's it? Griezmann, right?
Griezmann.
Sorry, he's awesome as well. He scored an amazing goal, I believe. against Uruguay, right? He put it in the left.
That was pretty lucky.
The left corner, was that what? I don't know if that was
Griezmann hit the ball. It hit the goalie's hands and then came out.
Oh, that was that one. Okay.
Mm.
Never mind. I'm thinking of the one who put the ball. It was just like a great strike into the bottom left corner. I'm thinking of the wrong game. Maybe it was in Argentina.
Is that Varane?
I think so. I don't know their names, so I'm sorry. I know is there a Picard or something like that?
Something like that. Oh,
yeah.
Varane scored a header into the bottom corner. I'm looking through the 90 and 90. And then
Maybe
Griezmann scored.
Maybe I'm thinking of Belgium. I'm probably just thinking of Belgium.
Belgium had a lot of pretty goals in these past two games.
Hey, Brooke, welcome to the sweet, sweet soccer podcast that we're having going on. How's the World Cup been going for you? Are you enjoying any of the games?
I play sports. So.
I play sports. I don't play sports because I get hurt every time I play sports, so I gave up on sports.
But you work out, so there's
no.
I get hurt literally every time. I have 3 bruises on my legs. One is a bruise on my upper to mid thigh. That's just a straight line. I have no idea how I got that.
That's strange. But let's talk about this Belgium team because they're the other team in the semifinals, as we've already talked about England and Croatia. So Belgium was in the which group were they in? They were in group.
Belgium was in the same group as England.
As England, right? So they came out of the group.
Tunisia,
second,
Panama,
right?
England, and Belgium. I think they were top of their group.
Right, and so they had a nail biter of a game against Japan, which people probably wouldn't have even thought that actually Japan got out of the group that they were in because they were nicer than their counterparts in Senegal because they didn't get as many yellow cards as the Senegal team in total. It's the first time that a team has ever gotten out due to fair play rules. Which
fair
is
play points,
which is really funny. But they somehow held up against this Belgium team, which was favored to at least go very far in the in the knockout stage, if not win the entire World Cup. The Belgian team,
the Japanese players, the Japanese team is more attacking and aggressive and team playing than England.
Oh yeah, no, I
said it.
I like this Japanese team. I think they did an amazing job against Belgium. They went up 2-0 against Belgium after the second half, or in the second half.
Yeah, the problem was the Japanese manager mismanaged the game a little bit. Keisuke Honda should have come out a little bit earlier to maintain the pressure. You could see the Japanese effort and energy was fading a little bit.
Right.
And they're too short as a team.
They are very short. When you're coming up against Lukaku on the Belgian and Fellaini, you're not many players are taller than them in general. So and Lukaku is basically the LeBron James of the Belgium side. So he not only that, but he actually looks like LeBron James to me and has a very similar build. I think he's a absolute beast on the flank side, the flanking attacking side of the Belgium, and I think he's awesome. He had a great goal against Brazil as well. But yeah, so Belgium came up with a great goal in stoppage time against Japan to finish it up 3-0 after coming back. So they scored 3 goals in a row where Japan did not score any. It was
really disheartening because they were going to go to extra time.
I know.
And therefore get that fourth substitute in, give Japan a little bit more time. And then in the last, almost the last minute of stoppage time.
It was a counterattack. They
got
fell apart.
And I was like, well, they can come back. It's still 30. Oh, wait, it's still oh my God. It took a second for me when I was watching that game to realize that it was still part of it. I was a little distracted by a podcast that I was listening to, but still.
Brookworm
the
says,
other thing is,
sorry.
I refuse to listen to American commentators. They're idiots.
Fox. I like Trevor Noah's take on the different types of commentators in soccer, or at least for the World Cup. But Brooke says she still hasn't watched any of the games, but she's here for moral support. Thank you very much, Brooke. Your support is always appreciated. But Trevor Noah says there are the three different types of commentators are, your standard English BBC commentator who's very calm and collected, give you interesting background tips or things about the game. Your typical soccer guy. And the American on Fox, the American broadcasters on Fox will just try to be talking the entire time, and they literally have said nothing. It's sort of like Overwatch.
And they're trying to make every single second super exciting.
And then the third guy is the Hispanic guy that's just yelling, "Go!" Because Fox hired that guy from Telemundo, I think. So it's just pretty funny to me. Because they tried to get something exciting for soccer fans in America. Which no one's excited about the World Cup. No, I think there's a lot of people excited about the World Cup. Here, I went to go to see this Russia match at a bar in Brooklyn, and of course, no one in America likes Russia, so the whole bar was rooting for Croatia. And then there was a couple of English chaps, and they're like, "All right, guys, who's gonna play England? Who's gonna play England?" He's cocky out of his mind. It was pretty funny though, because
at this point awesome. I regret supporting the English team during that Colombia game.
Because clearly you've decided. You decide the World Cup outcome.
I just hate the cockiness of the English fans. It's honestly like they got through one penalty kick and they beat Sweden, and now they're the best. They're like, we are going to win. No, no, and B, if you do, it's the luckiest thing that's ever happened since England had to play in England in order to win the World Cup. In 1966, the English national team won the World Cup. And that was before many, 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 many advances in playing, and England had to play in their own territory.
Well, Yvonne, let me tell you, after Belgium beat Japan, they beat Brazil, which is an even tougher feat. I think the Japanese team was really strong, but let me tell you that I don't think Japan would have beaten Brazil. But Belgium had a pretty easy time against the Brazilians, even though the Brazilians took many more shots than Belgium did. They were able to defend against all of them pretty much, except for one.
Though the Brazilian team, come on, they weren't that good this year.
I don't think they were either.
They basically have to go on their laurels of being Brazil.
Yeah,
they didn't have a lot of.
They got
power
Neymar.
Or what really surprised me in this Brazil-Mexico game. So in Brazil-Mexico, Brazil really did outplay Mexico.
Yeah.
And what was astounding was the speed at which the Brazilian team was playing. Like, the Mexican team literally couldn't keep up with them.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
The entire team, even fresh people that came on to the pitch couldn't stay with the Brazilian team. And so this tremendous force of Brazil was able to break through. Now, playing against a better team in Belgium, the disrupting force of Belgium's midfield was able to basically cancel out all the Brazilian attack because they couldn't get passes thrown together. They couldn't get anything done. And the Brazilian team looked bad. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie. And Neymar is the biggest crybaby that I've seen in the World Cup since Fernando Torres of Spain.
There's a really funny meme where they clipped out Neymar rolling in pain, in writhing pain, and they just have him tumbling down the screen multiple times to a crazy song. It's a funny meme. It's also probably a screensaver. It's great. It's hilarious. I thought in the Belgium game he did not cry as much, and I think he's been paying attention to social media, so he's trying not to cry as much. But he is a little bitch, and I want him to know that. But I'll tell you, Belgium did score their first goal against Brazil was a really exciting one on a counterattack. Lukaku basically took the ball to the top of the box and made a sweet pass, and they got a great shot on the Brazilian goalie. So I thought that was a really exciting goal. Very exciting stuff. What has Yvonne sent me? Let's find out as you get to see Neymar's World Cup antics. What the hell is this? Stop. Accept? I don't want cookies. I've finished. Neymar's World Cup antics have inspired a series of hilarious memes. Oh my god, look
I
at
like
this
the one
face.
where it's all the different positions of Neymar.
And now, Yvonne. Yeah, that is hilarious, dude. Why has everything been effed up now?
Shift it up. Hey.
Why? Skype, why will you never be captured correctly?
To close the text box.
Oh, I see. That's why it is. There we go. Boom. But that is amazing. He this one with the Brazilian squad, and then he's just dying.
It's hilarious.
He's the best.
Now,
Anyways.
let it be known that last time there was a World Cup, the host nation was Brazil. And how did Brazil get taken out?
They got
7-1 loss to Germany.
Pretty embarrassing.
The eventual winners. How did Russia get out? A 4-3 PK loss against Croatia, who I hope are the runner-up winners.
So you want them to come in second? Or
yeah, I want them to.
You want a France-Croatia?
There was
finals?
a little bit of political bullshit that some of the Croatian players have done.
But
so I'll be surprised if the Croatians get any kind of love in Russia, just based on this one guy. But I hope that they all get out pretty safe.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I really love Luka Modric, Ivan Rakitic. A lot of the Croatian side, I think, are really spectacular players. The few players that I think are bullshit are Vida and Mandzukic. Mandzukic is the biggest asshole to play soccer since Gattuso of Italy. And I
like the Croatian goalie.
Is an asshole.
Subasic.
I think the Croatian goalie is a fucking asshole. He pretended to have a hamstring injury.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that
wait, that was
the clock
bullshit. That was pretty bullshit.
What a fucking bitch.
I remember that.
Here's the thing. Okay. They get a timeout for this goalie, right? He stops the ball. Then for some reason the ref is like, okay, start the play. And then he can just pick the ball up. So he picked the ball up and then threw it. Because the Russian player pressured him. But that shouldn't happen. It should be a kick on the ground or some shit like that.
Right.
What the fuck? But he was just allowed to pick the ball up and throw it. I think that there was a lot of cheating. I think that the Russian team was screwed. I think this Brazilian wanted to make sure that the host nation got out. Just like the Brazilians weren't able to win when the Brazilians held the cup. It's a kangaroo court. It's a kangaroo court.
It's on record that Russia got cheated. Not fair. Who do you think's coming out on the top of France-Belgium? Come on.
That's very tough to call.
That's
I think it'll
the game.
I think it'll be a high-scoring game.
You think so?
I think it'll be 3-2 France.
3-2 France. Nice. That should be a very exciting game. I'm very pissed off that it's on Tuesday at 2 p.m. I don't have much time to watch games on Tuesdays. And I'm also mad that the Croatia-England game is on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Another day I don't have much time to watch. I'm very excited to see this France-Belgium game, but at least I'll be able to watch the finals because that's on Sunday.
What's your prediction for the France-Belgium game?
I see it. I could say, hey, Gasama 10, welcome to the party. Hello to you too. I see France. Well, I want France to win. But hello, boys. Let's go. I want France to win. I like the Belgium side a lot, though, even though they beat Japan, which was the team I wanted to win the World Cup, which would be ridiculous. But I think
still harbor hate in my heart for this Belgian team.
You don't like them. Why is that?
From the Russians played them at some point that I felt that they were being unfair.
Did Russia play Belgium?
Not this World Cup.
That's what I thought.
It was a previous tournament. Don't worry, it was a long time ago.
France
like 8 years ago.
Gasama says France will win the World Cup. I hope they do. I think that would be an exciting thing to have going on for France. I think the score will be of the France-Belgium game. I think it might go to penalty kicks. I feel like they might. I don't know if these teams will opt to be so explosive on their attacks. I think if anything, the goals will come from probably counterattacks on the Belgium side, I would say, and then maybe France will get a couple set pieces if they're lucky. I think France will win, though. I hope it's like a 2-1 victory or something like that.
I think
you think it's going to be a very exciting
Belgium
game.
has shown that they are, when they aren't playing at their highest level, they can be beaten. Japan was winning 2-0 against them. Brazil couldn't put anything together, but I think that France has a stronger side than Japan or Brazil. I think that the inventiveness of the French attack, when it's at its upper levels, can break down any defense. I still don't trust Company as the center back of the Belgian defense. They haven't been together for that long recently because Company just came back from another one of his many injuries. Sheesh. I think in the long run, this is Belgium's chance for their only World Cup victory.
I hope they go for it.
And stayed and have full physics. Yes, the French side is very fit. They have a lot of ability to play around, pass and run. You've got Griezmann, you've got Mbappe, Matuidi. You've got a generation of French players that are in their peak physical condition that can outrun a lot of people.
Belgium is their year.
Had to rely a lot on Marouane Fellaini, which I don't think is a great thing in the long run. I don't think Fellaini is a top tier player. I think he is a dirty engine that gives a lot of fouls, can win headers, but I don't think that he's the brightest brain. So I think France should be able to win.
Yeah, I think France comes out on top. Although, if Belgium wins, I hope
it's unsurprising.
It's gonna be an amazing game nonetheless. I can't believe it's not the finals, but I'll take it on the semifinals. How about this Croatia-England game, Ivan?
In all honesty, I think England will win 2-0.
2-0? Oh, no. No.
But I in my dream of dreams, Croatia wins 3-1.
3-1. That's a crushing defeat. The key of win is to play like a team, just like in Overwatch, and then you should play to the last time in 90 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's
you saw
wise
England played for 80 minutes against Colombia, and it was in that last 15 minutes of that game that Colombia was able to come back and score.
Right.
And England put some stuff together in the last minutes, but it wasn't enough, and they had to go to PKs. So I think that Croatia can, for instance, the full game. Croatia has shown, like Modric has shown, that he will play unlimited energy into the 115th minute of a game. So I think that Croatia, even though they're tired, is a better unit, and the English team will feel a lot of pressure and they'll crumble.
Yeah. Well, hey, I hope Croatia wins. I feel like it may or may not. I feel like there's a high chance of it being a France-Croatia final, which would be very exciting to watch.
And let the best red, white, and blue team win.
Right. They have the same. Every team has the same flag, man. No, it's just 3 teams have very similar flags. But, Ivan, we all can agree, fuck Neymar Jr. He's the worst. And who knew the Belgium would win Japan 3-2? You know, I didn't know that. I had high hopes for the Japanese team to beat Belgium, at least in the second half. You know, but it was a tough loss for Japan. But Ivan, thank you so much for providing your insight into the game. Your analysis is, as always, top tier. And we give our best to the Russian national team and hope they can come back stronger next World Cup. Do you think we'll see a similar Russian team? I don't know how old they were. So do you think we'll see a similar Russian team next World Cup? It's in Qatar, right?
For a lot of them, this was the last hurrah. I think Ignashevich is turning 39 this coming week.
Oh, you're Tunisian. Awesome.
It would be ridiculous. So don't go back and look at the things I said about Tunisians. I think, I don't know. The main thing is that Golovin, who is the Russian youth star, he's only like 21, 22. I think he will get a lot of boost from this. And if some of the more talented Russian players can get some more international experience, I think that'll be good. I think what the biggest problem for Russian football is that they haven't played in a lot of the top tier leagues.
They just play in the Russian leagues, right?
Yeah, they've stuck in Russia. Yeah. So I think that if they can get that international experience, it might be better for
One
them.
of them's in China, isn't it? Aren't they? Or maybe I'm wrong.
I
heard the announcers say something like that. I was like, what?
Iniesta is moving to China.
That's what I heard. Okay. Yeah, because he's getting old, right?
It's basically his retirement plan is to open up wine line in China.
That would be interesting.
I mean, the retirement
would be dope.
For everybody who says that there's no retirement plan for athletes, that's
wrong.
Not true, because the MLS and the Chinese leagues exist, and those are retirement plans for top stars in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's David Beckham, right? He's in the. I don't know if he plays anymore, but he was at least. You know, our music World Cup wrote the Tunisian song, "Road to Russia," and we lose the first match. Hey man, you had a tough group. I'm sorry, and I'm disappointed they didn't put like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia, and like Denmark in the same group. But
Tunisia had an incredibly
or Peru
group,
or something. But yeah,
with Belgium and
Definitely.
England. So.
But anyways, I think this has been an incredibly exciting World Cup. We've seen a lot of teams that you wouldn't necessarily think of seeing go out in the round of 16. You know, Argentina, Spain, and Argentina, Spain, and Uruguay went out after the quarterfinals. But you know, I enjoyed this World Cup so far. I'm excited to see these games in the semifinals, and I'm excited to see the finals. The best.
Who do you think wins the finals?
Morocco. I think France will win.
France?
And, you know, I think they will.
Okay.
I support their team. But, Yvonne, thanks so much again for your analysis. We end our podcast.
Iran was pretty good, too.
Iran did really well. Yeah, I was not expecting that at all from a team that I know very little about.
In terms of Muslim teams. Now, in terms of Arabic teams, it would have been probably Morocco.
Yes, they did very well at the end as well, even though they were knocked out. But yeah, anyways, Vaughn, we end our podcast in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the listener, can send in, or viewer, can send in your music to gaminghungover@gmail.com, and we'll play it at the end of the podcast for your listening pleasure. The best player is Mabret. I can't pronounce that name. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know who do you know who that player is, Yvonne?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, I'm sure the best player is, in fact, that person. But you can send in your music to gaminghungover@gmail.com. That would be great, and we'll play it at the end of the podcast, but not during the Twitch podcast, because I don't know how to do that. But Yvonne, do you have a song for us? Because we already played the Russian national anthem last week. We can't do it again.
No.
Okay, well then I have a song from a game that I've been playing called Hollow Knight. It's been out on PC for a year, but it just came out on the Nintendo Switch. I finally got a little further on in the game. I was stuck for a while, and then, life got in the way. But I'm excited to play the game more, so here's to that game. It's an incredibly fun Metroidvania game. I suggest anyone who likes those types of games go pick it up. But I'm going to be playing the Hollow Knight OST Dirtmouth track. There's an area in the game called Dirtmouth. It's a weird game, but it's super fun. Anyways, we're going to play that for you guys, the audio listeners and the video viewers on YouTube and SoundCloud and such. But that's the end of our podcast.
To answer Gasama's question about who will be the best player in 2018-2019, Eden Hazard is a pretty solid pick. He's been playing very cool. Well for club and country.
Very exciting. Let's go, Hazard. But Gasama, thanks so much for stopping by. Brookworm, of course, you're always in the chat. Thank you very much for supporting us. We're the Hungover Podcast. You can get us in audio form on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play, and on YouTube, and also on Twitch. So we'll catch you guys next week. But before that, Yvonne, you're streaming after this?
I'm going to stream after this. Take a quick bathroom break and then get right in.
Go give Comrade Boyer a follow on Twitch, and we'll be back with that shortly. All right, guys. Catch you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.